coming in at number 4 on our list is Clearlove from Edward Gaming. And we are getting into the super elite right here. At this point, we've actually all been in agreement from 4, 3, 2, 1, so we all voted Clearlove 4th. He is the highest ranked jungler on our list. Let's talk about it.
Do you want to start now that you love Clearlove
Yeah, I'm
so
happy to
much?
start with Clearlove. Clearlove for me is one of those junglers that, you know, we talk about the two sides, light Clearlove, dark Clearlove, and this season he finally put them together, and on the likes of Gragas, on the likes of Rek'Sai, he became a very smart jungler. This guy is always in the right place at the right time, and because EDG play around their bottom lane so much, he was even able to mix it up in the final against RNG and continually go mid to catapult Scout ahead. This guy is always one step ahead of the enemy jungle, and that's why I just think it's so incredibly hard to catch him out.
Yeah, I think where Peanut can be over-aggressive at times and go for these really risky plays, you don't always have to. Clearlove almost never does that. I feel like whenever I watch Clearlove and I see him make a play, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. You know, why is he going there? He has information on this. He knows he can go for this gank. He even goes into lanes from time to time, you know, fakes a gank, almost gets a TP, just backs away.
Yeah.
You know, he's super, super smart. He's not the kind of guy, though, where you talk about the insane mechanic we love to talk about so much. No, you talk about the brain. You talk about the experience. This guy's been around forever. This team is literally built around him right now. He's the leader on that team. He's, for sure, right now, the most famous Chinese player as well. And if he's able to do well with EDG and win worlds with EDG, like that would be the perfect ending to Clearlove's story.
Yeah, that's a couple things I want to talk about with Clearlove is the sustained success and also how smart he can be in the game. You do hear some people almost oversimplifying Clearlove sometimes. Oh yeah, Clearlove just camps bottom lane and then Deft and Mako are able to win. If it was as simple as him just ganking bots 75% of the time, they wouldn't be undefeated, right? Clearlove is incredibly smart with the way he paths, and he fakes ganks, he controls vision extremely well, and I think it's just a testament to his pathing, and not to say his mechanics are terrible, but it doesn't like, he doesn't show off insane mechanics, but he's still insanely effective and the best jungler at Worlds in my opinion.
And he transitions into team fights, which is so hard to do as a jungler, so smoothly. He is one of the best team fighters, in my opinion, that are going to this event. And he does it from the jungle position where you generally don't have as much resources as something like a top lane, something like a mid laner. And I think that is another huge tick in his advantage because he still initiates incredibly well. When they play protect the def comps, he is able to kite back. He is still revolutionary. I mean, when Hecarim showed a lot of support, he pulled out Skarner purely for the reason to get the Shen off depth. I mean, it didn't work all the time, but he still is trying to mention
Hecarim.
If there's a reason he's not above number 4 on this list overall, it's partially because of those terrible Hecarim games. Like, you talk about him not having great mechanics. He had some straight up bad mechanics in some of those Hecarim games.
Definitely.
And nearly flopped them out of the playoffs.
But a lot of the LPL teams love to play Hecarim in the wrong situations, but that's a different kind of story. Clearlove, again, you know, playstyle-wise, you mentioned a little bit, he farms a lot. It's a lot of counter-gank focus because, again, he can read where the enemy jungler is. So I guess a criticism for him is he can be predictable. You know, when you play against him, because you know he has a very farm-heavy style, you know he wants to show up with these counter ganks. If you're able to invade on him and actually place down some deep vision, you can spot him farm very easily, and then you can try and gank something like the top lane, because for some reason he can go top lane. If he goes past that, you know, part of the river with the Rift Scuttler, his character will just turn around and go down to mid and bottom lane. So there are ways you can kind of read him, but he's the kind of guy who perfects what he's doing, and then he just does it better than you.
That's what I want to talk about, the perfect mentality, because this is actually one of his biggest weaknesses, in my opinion. If you shouldn't die to a gank, he won't help you. And then if you do die to the gank, then it's like your fault. So he won't go for the obvious counter ganks. If a jungler walks over a ward and he's like, you can just back off and play safely, then he expects his top laner to be able to do that. And sometimes it has caught EDG out, where he expects a little bit too much from very new laners in Mouse and Scout, and maybe doesn't throw Mouse in particular the bone that he needs.
He's also a little slow at adapting to new picks. I definitely feel he's the kind of guy who needs a lot of practice on specific picks. So if we go into a Worlds tournament where EDG has a jungle meta in mind that he's been practicing coming into it, he's going to be ready for that. But if that changes, if some people, you know, surprised with certain picks and he has to suddenly adapt on the fly, I think actually he can suffer quite a bit. But then we're talking about extreme situations where instead of him being this consistently great, you know, player, he starts faltering a little bit and he suddenly drops down on the list. I think though, with how the jungle meta is, and because EDG is in Korea boot camping, they're going to see what every other jungler is playing. I don't think he's going to be surprised, and therefore I think he's going to be ready, and he's going to perform as a top 4 player in the world.
Yeah, and we all have him ranked, even by a little bit, above Peanut and as the best jungler here. And I do want to just touch on the solo lane point a little bit, because so much is made of him ganking bottom lane. Scout and Mouse are relatively unproven solo laners that to go undefeated in the LPL and then also win the entire split, a lot of that credit has to go to Clearlove for correctly supporting those lanes. Not camping
Ignoring
for them,
one.
but keeping them, you know, even and managing the game in the right way.
Well, for Scout, like, let's just dispel the myth. He goes mid to Scout.
Yes.
I mean, he is able to get Scout ahead. And then as an overall leader for the team, he puts so much pressure on a certain area of the map that teams feel like they have to match it for some reason. So that gives Mouse the isolated 1v1 a lot of the time. Will it happen on the international stage? I don't believe so. I think that he's going to have to get up there a little bit more often, but I do think that he is a jungler capable of doing it.
Yeah, so we gave a lot of input on a Clearlove, the best jungler on our rankings and number 4 overall.